Have you been watching tutorials for weeks or even months and you code every project, everything goes good, but then when it's time to code on your own, you're stuck and you have no idea what to do? Does this sound familiar at all? Well, this is what we call tutorial hell. So in this video, I'm going to explain why tutorial hell is killing your coding progress and how to escape it. Let's go ahead and get into it. So if you're new, my name is Zazo. I've been coding for over 10 years and I've held different positions like an SQA, software engineer, data engineer. I've worked in data analytics, machine learning, and as well as some data science. So you want to know who has two thumbs and has also been in tutorial hell? You got it. It's this guy. So what exactly is tutorial hell? Well, tutorial hell is essentially where you follow along with tutorials without actually applying any of this information or these concepts on your own. You're essentially just reading guides, video guides, and following along and being handheld throughout each and every step. So you might feel productive with this sort of style because you think you are learning, but the truth is just following along and not applying. You're actually missing the key of learning coding, which is problem solving. So why does tutorial hell even happen? Why is this kind of like a cycle? Well, first, tutorials give you a sense of, making you feel safe, as in like you don't have to worry about any errors. You can go to a clean path, a happy path to where you want to go. Also, another reason why is there's a fear of failing. You don't want to fail on any project. Therefore, why would you not take the clearest path getting a project done, right? If you wanted to build a to-do app, why would you not go and look for a tutorial on how to build that app rather than building it on your own, right? Not saying this is the right mindset, but this is the mindset that kind of, triggers this never ending cycle unless you stop it and you escape. So you really just in the state. Another reason why is you don't know how to transition from learning to building. Why is tutorial hell actually hurting your progress? Well, staying in tutorial hell gives you this false sense of like confidence. When you're following along, you feel like you're getting everything, you get the concepts, but then when you stop and you try to build something on your own, you feel stuck. Right? What tutorials don't do is they don't teach you how to actually solve problems. They give you the recipe to make the food rather than sitting there with ingredients and you having to figure it out, right? The figuring it out is the key part there. But when you're watching these tutorials, you're literally just getting syntax and steps and you're just memorizing. It's kind of sort of the same thing you would do in school. You would read a bunch of key terms, memorize what they all mean, and then on the test, you would just regurgitate and do the answers. It's simply, maths tends to be hard for a decent amount of people. And the reason why is because you have those things like English and different things where you can literally just memorize stuff and regurgitate it. But math kind of forces you to solve the problem, right? You have to know the steps and you have to go through messing up and getting it right and doing all those things, which is very similar to coding. So the equivalent there is in math, figuring out the problem is different than just going to your buddy and getting the answers. If you get the answers, all right, you're just going to copy them down, but you never really know how to solve the actual problem. So growth actually comes from the struggle of figuring things out, not by following a recipe. All right, so now we're going to get into how to actually escape tutorial hell. We've identified that you may be in tutorial hell, right? If this resonates with you, then you're in tutorial hell. I've been there before. So how do you escape it? And how did I escape it? I'm gonna give you 3 things to help you start today to get out of tutorial hell. And I'll let you know, I'm gonna be transparent. It's not gonna be the most comfortable, right? So step number 1 is start building small projects, right? Start creating your own projects. They don't have to be the next SaaS. They don't have to be the next, groundbreaking, app or anything like that. Do the simple stuff. This is why you do see the to-do apps, the calculators, and basic websites. That's why you see this stuff on these tutorials, right? This is the first step of starting to solve the problems. So what I challenge you to do is make something small, to-do list, calculator, or portfolio website, or any type of small website, and code it without a tutorial. That does not mean you cannot use Google, these different tools that are out there. Be careful with AI, but if you know how to use AI correctly, AI can help. to make sure that you're still internalizing the concepts and not just copy and pasting code. All right, so tutorials aren't all bad. You can use tutorials, but you got to use them strategically. So what do I mean by that? Instead of you just watching tutorials like I used to do, watch tutorials and just follow them blindly and just do whatever they're doing, challenge yourself to recreate that same project either by yourself, or once you get done with the tutorial, add features to it that were not in the tutorial, right? So you have the main, let's say the main calculator, but now you know, like a scientific calculator. So take it from a basic calculator and make it a scientific calculator. Add different things like square root and other functions of that sort, sine, cosine, all those different things, right? You take the project of just a basic calculator, plus minus, division, and whatever else is on there, and then you upgrade it to making it a more scientific or complex calculator, but do that part by yourself. So step number 3 is learn by debugging. I stated this in a previous video. You need to write messy code, you need to make mistakes, and you need to debug your way through them. Debugging is one of the most valuable things that you'll go through and skills that you'll develop as a programmer. It'll teach you a lot. It will save you trouble in the future if you're learning to debug right. Some of the things that you'll run into now, you won't have to run into later, or if you do run into them later, you'll know how to solve them very quickly. Every error that you essentially fix teaches you something new. That's how you have to think about it. So instead of getting down when you see an error, think of it as boom, hit an error. What do? I don't know what I do. However, I know once I figure this out, that is something that I've learned and I can put in the back of my mind, and whenever it comes up again, I'll get through it even faster. Or I won't make it in at all, right? Because I know that it's there, things like that. The next thing is going to be a roadmap. You need to create yourself a roadmap when you're a beginner. These are the things that you'll need to have within your roadmap, all right? So this is a simple roadmap to break free from tutorial hell and like start building real coding skills. All right, the first thing is pick one language. Just pick one, right? You can do a little bit of research. If you know what you want to go into, then pick the language that is most, applicable to that specific domain. Front end, probably gonna be JavaScript. Back end, you have a bunch of different languages. If your goal is to just get hired, search your area, see what language you need to essentially learn, what's more popular there, right? Pick a language, learn the language, right? Only stick with one language. Do not switch. Stay with one language, right? Do beginner-friendly courses. So there's nothing wrong with doing tutorials. You just can't get stuck in tutorial hell, right? So do a course on, the syntax, all that thing, how to use it. Start building you some small projects like I mentioned before, right? And then what you want to do is you want to iterate. So you want to continue to build small projects. You want to add features, add more complexity. You want to eventually start cleaning up your code, writing more reusable code, being more efficient. At first, very first, messy code is fine. Be writing a lot of code, right? And that cleaning it up will come with it. And experiment with different things. Experiment with something you haven't tried before. If you've never tried to add a string and a number, you don't know what will happen. In some languages, it'll give you an error. Some languages, it might actually give you something you just don't expect, right? And then go off of that. Why did this happen? Why does this happen in this language, not this language? Or, just go down that curiosity. The key to coding is you learn by doing. Tutorials are tools, so you can use them, but they're not a crutch, right? You don't want to use them as a crutch. You have to use a tutorial strategically. The tutorial hell can definitely feel like a trap, but the good news is you can escape it. I've escaped it. Hopefully in this video, I gave you some key tips and advice to getting on your journey to escaping a tutorial hell. Or if you haven't started yet, avoiding tutorial hell in general. The sooner you get started, the sooner you just get going, right? And now with this in mind, you avoid tutorial hell, or if you're in tutorial hell, get out of it. You have the tools to get out of it, so go ahead and get out of it. And leave me a comment about one of the projects that you're working on, and go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.